Hello, welcome to another episode of Cross the Bridges. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr. This is my co-host, Will. Will, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm William Montgomery, and it's a pleasure to be here.
This week, we're going to talk about, in our three-part series, haters, liars, and users. This is part 2, liars. We're going to talk about liars. And it's interesting how the topic came up and is now a part of the show. I let him explain last week about how we connected haters and fathers who are, when we talk about the topic of fatherlessness. So now we're going to talk about liars. Lying is something that seems to be a part of a lot of relationships, particularly when it comes down to being pregnant and the prospect of a child coming into this world. Everything is great. The relationship is going well. We hang out, have a few drinks or whatever, do our thing, and then suddenly someone's pregnant. And so typically, one person will say, yeah, that's a good thing, or that ain't my baby. And you got to look behind that to kind of get an understanding of what do they mean. I mean, it's to me as a man, I read between the lines there. If it's a man saying that ain't my baby, they're trying to get out from under it because they ain't interested in having a baby. Okay, so right up front, that ain't a lie. That's the truth. But what he said the day before, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to marry you, I want to have a family with you. And then suddenly when reality shows up, you're actually pregnant, we get the other side of that coin. That ain't my baby. That must be the other guy's baby, the one I ain't seen yet. Or the one that I seen coming out your room the other day. Yeah, I ain't saying nothing, but I saw him. Yeah. So a lot of women don't understand that men do lie. And they lie for a reason, to get what they want or to avoid something that they don't want. But anyway, let's give a couple of definitions. Well, let me give Will a moment to kind of see, where he's coming from with lies and liars and people who lie.
Well, the sad reality is a lot of people lie. And that's not just men. We also have females, just like we have children that lie, just like we have grown politicians lie. Everybody lies. Well, I take that back. Not everybody lies, but the ability to lie is there for anybody and everybody. So we can't discount, certain individuals for whatever reason, because there's always a possibility. Problem is, if you have a history of it with your partner, male or female, then it makes it that much harder to believe what you're saying. So if you're a habitual liar, you're already, it's already an issue. I can't believe you telling the truth right now or next week or later. So, but lying is, like you said, it's a tool. People use it to, avoid punishment or avoid shame, avoid ridicule. Oh, like, is that your dad over there with the 1955 high waters on? No, that's not my dad. But I mean, they have this thing called little white lies or whatever, call it. A lie is still a lie. And we need to understand that. And when you have a habit of doing things or stretching the truth, as some people might say, try to make it nice. Oh, it's just stretching the truth a little bit. Still a lie. So, I mean, we have to really understand the impact of lies on the people that surround us, the people that we care about, and things of that nature. So it becomes it affects people's lives greatly when you start talking about the relationship between a man and a woman and it strains it even more when there's a child involved. So that's why we need to understand the importance of it, and we really need to have a conversation on character and the ability to reduce the appearance of telling a lie.
Well, I think you touched on pretty much everything that we could possibly talk about in the topic of lies. So, ready to say goodnight?
Nah, I like this. Let's get into this.
Welcome to the Will Show.
Yeah.
Lies and liars. 5 minutes and 47 seconds. Okay, good. No, but as you were pointing out, I just want to tweak something a little quick there. That we all lie from time to time, and there are situations that a lot of us will lie in, no matter what. And usually, and as you pointed out, depends on who you're talking to. If it's someone you love and you're trying not to hurt their feelings, if it's your boss and you just want to get out the room, so, if it's a stranger and you just don't want to be bothered, you might tell them a lie. Whether to hurt, not you don't want to hurt their feelings, or just want you to leave me alone, or whatever. So lying is not something that's new to man. But then when we get to the other end of the spectrum, and we find that lying, some people it's a comfortable and acceptable way of thought and responding to situations. And there are many different reasons for responding that way. As you pointed out, to protect yourself, to avoid problems, or to get ahead of somebody, or to get advantage that you would not have had. And, we go further on down that same road. You have to understand that, you start out with a little salt, and then it gets to be salty. And then it becomes overwhelming, and where does your taste buds finally wind up? A little salt is fine. Salty is like, and then when it's just overwhelmed with salt, if it's good to you, it's going to be good to you. You're going to keep doing it, and it's okay, So let me see what I have written here. How to deal with liars is one topic. The mental illness, what mental illness is associated with lying, we'll talk about that for a moment. What does the Bible say about dealing with a liar? Which is interesting. Liars, they don't care who they hurt or destroy. And this is in 2 Peter 2, 4-22. And you could also find that in Judge 1, verse 10. The doom of liars is spoken of in Revelations 21:8. The liar will forever be separated from a loving and holy God. The liar will have all eternity to regret the deception they refuse to renounce as they hear their lies echo in their memory throughout eternity. And Revelations 21:8 reads this way. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And so even in the Bible, God is telling us straight up, that's a problem. It's not acceptable. He doesn't distinguish between the white lie or the blatant, pathological lie, which is interesting because again, you as a Christian, you want to, try to do the right thing all the time, and trying to avoid hurting people's feelings. Well, I guess you learn to become a real good diplomat if you can spin an answer to the question of, do I look fat? You're muted.
I was saying, yeah, baby, you look good. You look just like you did yesterday. You know?
That's a good response. Like, no, you're looking about 10 pounds over what you had on yesterday, but okay, it's good. It's all good. And so, things like that, you probably have to think about. I'm just saying from a Christian perspective, trying to really, really do the right thing. Some of us are part-time Christians. We just, when I'm feeling good, I'm doing the right thing. When I'm feeling bad, I don't care. Don't matter to me. Which is not good, because you don't know when that last minute, that last breath is coming.
True.
It'd be great if you're doing the right thing and it comes. Okay, he left here, he was doing a good thing. But if it was one of those days where things were going south and you were all the way live, he's standing there in front of the pearly gates talking about, damn it, this and that. Oh, where am I?
You're not going to let me in.
He's saying, next. I didn't even get to give my name. What up with that? But anyway, let's go a little more into this here about liars. Where do we have? How do you deal with someone who lies all the time? Now, it's. Oh, hold on. We got.
Hey.
Hey.
It's Kimmy. She's here. How you doing today, Kimmy?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Good. Well, you got a holiday today, or you're not begged off of work?
No, I'm still going in. I'm going in.
You're not going in late, are you?
Possibly. No. Life is about sacrifice, okay?
It ain't about being unemployed. We're sitting here talking about liars. I don't know what you're going to tell them when you get in there. Oh, hey, I'm here. Let's focus on that. I'll stay late and pick up that time. It'll be all right. But we did have, we'll, throw a couple of coins on the table about liars. And so let me give you an opportunity to voice your thoughts.
On liars? I don't know which way to angle it. All I can say with liars, it's a tough thing. I think people sometimes lie because they're afraid of the truth. They're afraid of what the truth might do, or they don't know how to just be honest. Truth will set you free, and truth will also hurt you. But you just, honesty is the best policy in my opinion. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I've never told a lie, but I've tried my best to just tell the truth in any case that I can, because lies just always end up just catching back up to you at the end of the day. You have to remember lie after lie after lie. So, it's like a never ending cycle.
You get so comfortable with lying that you tend to forget the lies that you already told.
Exactly.
You come with new lies. And it just gets worse and worse. One of the points that we made earlier was that because we talk about fatherless, this in the community, and when the relationship is going well, when you first get to meet the person or whatever, you're hanging out, having a good time, having a few drinks or whatever, life is good. Then when somebody says, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant, suddenly the man wants to talk about, that ain't my baby. No, that's somebody else's baby. No, it was only you. No, that was somebody. I saw him, but he slipped out the back door. I didn't say nothing, but he slipped out. It ain't my baby. And the thing about it is dealing with that, because it came out of his mouth. That means there was some thought given to it because it's the reality. That was in his heart. You know, I may not have said it before because I was getting what I wanted, but now suddenly, you know, they pregnant. It's like, oh no, that's not mine. Whatever. And so it's something that's I got to say commonplace. She left us, but anyway, it's commonplace. Let me go into what we were talking about as far as the different kinds of lies here. How do you deal with someone who lies all the time? How to cope with a pathological liar. Now, the definition of pathological is someone obsessive or something done obsessively, or it is something related to a disease. An example of something that would be described as pathological is pathological gambling, which is gambling obsessively until you lose your entire life savings. Pathological liars often lie without any reason. Their lies are extensive and elaborate. The urge to lie is compulsive. They often can't control the impulse to make up stories even when this causes them harm. Let me give you a quick example of a pathological lie. An example of a pathological lying: creating a false history, such as saying they've achieved or experienced something they haven't, claiming to have a life-threatening illness that they don't have. Telling lies is to impress others, such as saying they're related to a famous person. Now, I've had my experience with, I'm just going to talk about, people randomly. I'm not going to say any names, Tommy, but okay. Funny. These are people that are randomly, names that I looked in the dictionary and so. But the truth is something that they have great difficulty with. And I don't know why. It's easy enough to just say, look, I can't make it, or I'm not going to make it, or I don't even like you enough to try to make it. I ain't going to feel bad if you can't come home. just say, I can't make it. Oh, I'll be there. Yeah. And I'll call before I leave. And then 2 days after the event, you got to call them up and say, what happened, man? I thought maybe you got hit on the road or something and they trying to find you. Oh, no, I work. I had to work that day. Yeah, I'm just coming in from work. Yeah, I just closed the door. Yeah, I just closed the door. I'm here. But, in my lifetime, when you invite somebody over or someone says they're coming over, you prepare for them, and preparing is cleaning up, tidying up your place, maybe having some refreshments for them in case they want something a little more than just cold water from the sink. And you should shower or something before they get there, things like that there, just not that you're trying to impress them, but you want to be in your best light. You want them to see in your best light. And then when they don't show up, you say, I don't wasted my time, wasted my money, and I was anticipating you coming and entertaining for whatever reason, and you don't show up. There's one thing to not be able to make it. You just say, yo, listen, the sky's falling and I'm not going to be able to make it. Okay, fine. I got you. But then you don't say nothing. And it's like, who's the fool in this conversation? It must be me because you ain't here. And we got other people who say that something happened that didn't happen. Or even, typically when years ago, you didn't do something that they think you should have did, and they're holding on to it. They won't speak to you. They won't call you. And then suddenly when they run into you, it's like, oh, yeah, you disrespected me. When? Back in 1962. Yeah. I was driving my car and you didn't even look at it. Really? You still holding on to that?
Right. Okay. It's been a long time.
For a long time. Now you 60-something years old and you still bringing that up? I mean, come on. But anyway, we kind of get off the topic here. Let me go back to talking about pathological liars. The term pathological lying is often used interchangeably with compulsive lying. There's no clear clinical difference between the terms. The research suggests that compulsive lying falls under the broader definition of pathological lying, rather than being its own separate phenomenon. Dealing with liars, don't lose your temper. As frustrating as it may be, it's important not to let your anger get the better of you when confronting a pathological liar. Expect denial. They're going to deny what they're saying is not true. Remember that it's not about you, the reason why they told that lie. It's about them. You should try to be supportive and trying to help understand or alleviate those barriers that are up there that made them feel that they needed to lie to you. And number 5 would be, don't engage them. Don't engage them. I talking to them and they told me a lie. Listen, I'm not going to encourage this. Let's just move on to topic number 2. And lastly, you may want to suggest to them get some real professional help with that issue of lying, because it's not a good thing. But there are many different other kinds of lies. And we'll talk about them in a minute. But I wanted to ask Kimmy, in your reporting out in the field there, have you run into liars? None that we know personally, but I'm just saying, in general.
Oh my goodness, many of them.
What's the biggest lie you've heard ever?
The biggest lie I've heard? Oh my goodness. That is a good question. Oh my goodness. I need some thinking time on that one. Ooh wee.
Will, can you give her a hand?
There's probably been so many I can't grasp any particular one right now to tell you which one was the biggest or not. But since we're talking about fatherlessness, there was a accusation many moons ago that I had a surprise, a bun in the oven, and out it wasn't the case. Couldn't believe it.
Wow.
You kind of faded away.
I was told that I was expecting father.
Oh.
And that wasn't the case.
Oh
my goodness.
Yeah. As
Were
my
you
friend.
happy about the prospect of being a father at that point?
Well, the unfortunate case was I had a friend of mine who sowed a seed of doubt, but I was like, we haven't really been hanging out like that. The guy friend was like, we haven't really been hanging out, so I don't know if you're just trying to rain on my parade or if you were genuinely trying to look out for me. So it was like I was trying to analyze the messenger, and I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna hear it, but now I'm gonna start looking for, the evidence. So I'm gonna just handle everything with kid gloves, and I tried to. Unfortunately, like if it was my child, then that means I would have lost a lot of time because I was standing. I was kind of like playing the back role. I was like, well, I don't know if it's my child. I don't want to get too attached.
Yeah.
And find out that it's not my child. So it cuts both ways. Like you in a situation like that, if you don't know, it hurts. If you do know, yeah, if you don't know if the person is telling you the truth, the friend or whatever doubts you may have, if you don't know if that's accurate, it hurts you that way. If you don't believe that the person that is pregnant by you is telling you the truth, and you find out later on that they were telling you the truth, that relationship is damaged. So you're hurting yourself either way. It's like a catch-22. It's like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, part of the language. But needless to say, we had a lot of conversations. I was like, I never questioned whether the baby was mine out loud, but in my mind, I kept it to myself, and I was like, hey, I need to get a DNA test. It was like, you don't believe me? I was like, it's not that I don't believe you, but I know my parents are going to ask me if I got a DNA test. So, that was my way out. But I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I knew my father. Like, how do you know it's yours? I believe it's mine. Did you get a DNA test? No.
Right.
How do you know it's yours? You know what I'm saying? I know how it goes. So, I kind of thought about that when they asked, and I was like, well, in order for me to tell my parents, I'm gonna have to have this evidence. So this is what we need to do. It took some time. I got the money together, paid for it. Come to find out, baby wasn't mine.
Thank God you took those steps, man.
Yeah, that is,
But the thing that we don't talk about though is how I felt at that time, because I'm like, if it was my child, that would have been my son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I missed the birth. I missed, putting my name associated with my child. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of damage there. If that child is mine, there's a lot of missed opportunities there because of this doubt. And then because it wasn't, I mean, the young lady was like, well, I guess you're happy. I'm like, no, I'm not happy. I'm supposed to be happy that my son. I'm supposed to be happy that this is not my son. I mean, so it's like, I don't know how to feel. I can't be happy. I can't be sad. I mean, it's like, I'm just here.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to be in.
To you, yeah.
Unfortunately, that happens. But you got to look back on it now. Obviously, hindsight is 2020, and say that it was a good thing that the point came up. Because when the child came, and you started to bond with it, and then find out that, at some time later, it wasn't your child, and the only reason you'd find out sometime later is by happenstance. If there was a health issue or something like that there, where you needed blood or, something, whatever it might be, a health-related thing that there's no other option but for me to be involved in it, I have to say that in my lifetime, I've experienced that where, wasn't me personally, but somebody I had very close to had gotten pregnant. And then when they came home with the baby, the father looked at it and like, that ain't my baby. I mean, day one like let's have the baby, a few weeks from now, and their color starts to change a little bit, their hair gets a little different or whatever. Day one, that ain't mine. And then accept the child, knowing that there was a betrayal in the relationship. I just quit it straight up. It was my father and my mother.
Wow.
Mom came home from the hospital with the baby, looked at the baby. I looked at the baby and said, hey, that ain't my sister. Wow. But as a child, you don't open your mouth like that. You'll never open it again. It's just straight up. You got to pick and choose your battles. So you just go and accept it and keep on going. And so that was one. Then when it rolled around again, Really?
Mm.
Two children that didn't look nothing like anybody else in the household. You
Wow.
know, my father never said a word, you know, and my mother, you couldn't say anything to. You guys have to just deal with it. But then you know, when you get older, you know, you carry that with you, and you have to say, sit down sometime and say to yourself, that was a heck of a situation to be in.
Yeah.
You know, for my father. You know, I mean, look, it was dead clear. Neither one of these children were his.
Oh, wow.
Dead clear.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, you know, let's wait a few weeks to see if the hair comes in right, or, you know, the teeth come in right, or nope, and no.
Oh, wow.
And so it never, and any of the arguments that my mother and father would had from that point going forward, that topic never came up in front of us.
Okay.
So now what they may have argued about in the street or in the car, I don't know.
Wow.
And I know that when we were standing around, nothing was said about that.
Mm.
Okay. So now we kind of got sidetracked here.
I thought of a lie in that time, and then I'm gonna scurry on before I have to tell a lie. So one of the biggest lies I think I've heard is while dating someone, they say one of the females in their life is their sister, to come to find out that it's their significant other. That's the worst lie I think that I've ever heard. And it's so
that. One more time.
Yeah, I said someone that I was dating, a woman who was in their life, they said that it was their sister when in fact it was their significant other. So they pulled the sister stunt on me.
Crazy.
Alrighty then.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's crazy.
Sometimes sometimes they're good lies. I mean, you can't figure out where the truth is in that one until it actually comes out.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
And you know that's kind of hard. It is hard to deal with, you know, because you're trusting people. You think that they're going to tell you the truth all the time, because what's wrong with telling the truth? I mean, You can't do nothing that but, you know, set you free. You know, at least make things clear. You know, I like you. I don't like you. I'm thinking about you. You know, I only like you because you buy me McDonald's. The truth. Okay, fine. So when I go to McDonald's, you can come with me. I go someplace else, you ain't coming. You don't like it, right? Okay, fine. But yeah. So let me see what else I have here, because I want to make sure I get out the list of the different kinds of lies. Mm-hmm. So we have that kind of understanding. I mean, I got a lot more stuff here, but that's not going to happen today. Let me just find the page on. And we should turn the music up, but bunch of pages here. Come on, here we go. Let's see. I'm getting close. I know it. Compulsive lying, we talked about that. Compulsive liars exhibit all the classic lying behaviors, along with their grandiose stories of their own glory, including an avoidance of eye contact, breaking out into a sweat, or tripping over their own words and points. Pathological lying, we talked about that. Their lies, though they cause pain and hardship, no matter the relationship with the person, seem to have no clear benefit, and they more often than not start to believe in the lies that they tell. Now we come to infrequent liars. More often than not, these types of lies also admit to their lie, or these types of liars, also admit to their lie before they're found out, begging for forgiveness and suffering from the guilt of their transgression, no matter how small. Then we have careless lying. Careless lying, when someone lies carelessly, They do it all the time and without thinking of or caring about how it affects anyone around them. Though they're usually aware of their dishonesty, they really and truly don't care about it and are traditionally looking out only for themselves and their own personal comfort and well being. Now, white lies, and this is something that William has pointed out. Though many of us tell white lies to benefit someone whose feelings we value, these lies can stack up and they become especially toxic when they're combined with tidbits of truth, making them especially hard to make sense of. Now we have sociopathic lying. The sociopathic liar doesn't care. The only thing that matters to them is gaining power and manipulating the people around them. Yeah, okay. Thoughts, comments, suggestions?
I mean, that's just I mean, in this day and age, we have to know what's out there. A lot of people, I mean, when babies are born, they're in the world, they're not thinking about what a lie is or who's lying to them. But as we get older, we start to see it, and being able to discern which one is in front of you at that particular time is important, because yes, I mean, it's all lies, but like I said, there's different levels of it. There's somebody that's just lying just to gain power. There's somebody that's lying because they don't want to hurt your feelings. There's somebody that's lying because they just don't know no better. Like, I'll just do whatever and leave it at that and care less, But I mean, they will each affect you differently. If you just say, hey, they're all lies, okay, and just say, I don't want to deal with that person, that's one way to go about it. But like I said, if there's somebody that cares about you, you can just be like, hey, look, I hear you saying it. Sorry. I hear you telling me this, but I understand that you're just trying to protect my feelings. I need you to be more honest with me. That sociopath that's just trying to get power over you. Hey, I don't need to deal with this person. They're just trying to get power over me. So we have to be able to engage with those people or disengage from those people.
We're not talking about this topic I'm about to bring up, but maybe someday we probably should talk about that. When someone has been lied to and they're convinced that that was the truth, and then they try to convince you of that truth, that's a very difficult situation to be in, because then you find yourself battling back and forth with one person who's convinced that what they're saying is true. Yep. And now you got to try to dig back into that and say, no, that's not true. And, how do you do this? Because I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm trying to explain to you that what you're talking about, that you really don't know what you're talking about because somebody else told you a lie that you bought into. And it's like, wow, how do we do that? But that's not the conversation for today. We'll have to come back to that. I want to close with some signs that someone might be lying, so you can look forward to that. There are a number of signs that someone might be lying to you, and they range from nonverbal clues to full blown out sentence fragments or an inability to recall details. Discovering the lies someone is telling is often a passive process, but there are active steps we can take as well as to get to the root of their deceits. Now, again, that might be someone who was convinced that what they're telling you is true, and then it might just be someone who's sitting there just lying just because they have a different agenda. Here's number one, a sense of vagueness. When someone is lying, they are usually vague on details, refusing to commit to dates, names, or identifying events that might give away their ruse. If someone isn't telling the truth, they'll often refuse to offer up any substantial details, and will change the subject anytime the conversation steers towards their half-truths or outright lies. Number 2, sentence fragments. Some liars are smooth, but others are a bit less aware. Many, when caught in a lie, will find themselves tripping over details like dates, names, etc., and find themselves rambling on in sentence fragments that don't quite add up, like their lies. Verbal uncertainty is one of the biggest signals you can look for when you suspect someone is lying to you, and shudders and sentence fragments go right along with that. Here's another one, number 3. Grooming behavior. That's grooming, grooming behaviors. As humans, we have a lot of distractive techniques that we lean into when we get found out or find ourselves backed into a corner. Among those techniques is grooming, a sleight of hand technique that is meant to make the victim think the other way or look the other way or become distracted in the midst of the lie confrontation. These behaviors can include touching fingers of their lips or running their fingers through their hair. Not only do they calm the lie, but these behaviors can also break the train of thought of the victim as well. So let's keep those things in mind when you're dealing with someone you think might be telling you, a lie.
While you were talking, I kind of had another thought. I think we overlooked another detail or another segment of a liar, and I would say it would probably be the professional liar, because the vague is one aspect of it, but you have some people, some people that are professional liars, and they know they can go into so much detail and get you to believe them because
they mastered it.
Detail, and that's what sells the lie. And it's like, you have comment. That's their whole job, to give you enough information and not be vague to sell you on something. Like, I'm not going to call salesmen liars, but their job is to give you the information so that you have enough to make an informed decision. And usually they want you to make a decision right then because they got to go sell somewhere else. Common, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to be professionals at what they're doing. They're going to understand the body language that you're probably looking for. They're probably going to be looking straight in your face. Blah, 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 blah. You understand? Yeah. It's so great. And that's how they're able to get away with it, because they're not giving all the tells that the average person would give, because they practice this.
They mastered it, so to speak.
So that's another liar that it's like I said, if somebody has something to gain by lying to you, then there's a possibility that they're lying to you. And you have to seek the truth. Okay, maybe you ask some more questions, or maybe you take some time, because they're usually going to want you to make a decision right away.
Right.
There
are signals there that tell you that this is something that you might want to stop and think about. And if they're not want to give you an opportunity to think about it, you got to act now because it's such a. Wait a minute, I didn't come to you. You came to me. You called me. Whatever, like that. There. So I need a minute to think about this or whatever. And then they come up with another line or whatever. And sometimes you just got to say, look, I just have to miss this opportunity. Because I have an opportunity to think about it, and it's usually either something, what they'll tell you up front is, there's only a little thing at stake here. But when you really look at it, it's a whole lot at stake on the other side of that coin. As you had an opportunity to think about it, you would have came up with the question and asked, and then found out that, this is what's going on. I mean, I've had a couple of situations online buying products, and you see something that's interesting that you could use or whatever, And then you go and you say, "Oh, the price looks really good." Yeah, so I'm gonna buy this. But then, as soon as you buy it, about a month later, you get charged again. So, well, why are you charging me? This is like, especially with software.
Mhm.
Why are you going to charge? I didn't expect this or whatever. Oh, well, that was a subscription you bought. Well, it didn't say subscription. When I checked off the box to pay for it,
Mhm.
I thought I was buying a one-time purchase price is such and such and like that, but it's not. It's a subscription program, and you have to really be careful when you're looking online and buying online, because now it's becoming the way that they want to do business. I used to buy software, of course, $400-500, for something that was, going to work for you, something really good. And now it's only $49.95. Yeah, but it's a $19.95 subscription for the next 4,000 years. Yeah, because they don't tell you that the length, the amount of time. They just say, because we'll keep upgrading it. And so you're getting all these upgrades, and you're thinking, yeah, well, that was a good deal. I paid $49.95, and then boom, there's that $19 charge that a lot of people, overlook, unless money's tight. It'd be like watching every dime.
Right.
Sure.
So anyway, I think that's about it for this segment. Unless you have something else you want to offer, anyone? Will.
Yes. For our viewers, we would like to extend the opportunity to recommend topics for us to discuss. And if you would like to be on the panel, also hit us up in the comment section. We look forward to hearing from you.
Okay. And we want to thank Kimmy for her drive-by appearance today.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
And here we go. We will see you again next week, and we'll talk about music. Part 3 of this series, haters, liars, and music. And as long as God willing, the creek don't rise.
And the creek won't rise.